distribution to promote your outreach. You're probably the ones that sent me that information, right? And here's what I'm going to ask a question. Sponsors publicity for sponsored events. Somebody has sponsored events. Does that sponsor contribute something to your club to be a sponsor of an event? So it turns into a money-making endeavor for you if it's a sponsored event?
For us, it's more like it's not sponsoring monetarily, it's sponsoring the actual event. So if there's an organization that wants us out there, they're going to do publicity for their group in their normal meetings.
Okay.
Maybe also social media.
Okay. So we have a lot of people associated with the parks, so the parks websites are big draws for theirs. County websites, media events, the local newspaper. Popular Astronomy Club actually does a monthly article on an astronomical event of interest that's published in the newspaper once a month, and I don't know how many. I've been with the club for 2 years, and it's been going on for many years before I joined the club. So we're authors, and that's a good way to get publicity for you folks too. For this conference, our treasurer Dale and our president Al went on one of the local TV shows. It's something that promotes companies and events, and they were our TV stars about a month ago to pull in some local interest for the conference too. So the media can be helpful. I never thought of Craigslist. I thought that's where you just put listed stuff to rip other people off. So somebody lists on Craigslist. I never thought of the brochures at the Convention and Visitors Bureau. Never thought of that. The Convention Bureau is one of our sponsors. I don't know if we have some of our brochures over there or not. And then I didn't know that there were user-subscribable Google calendars. I'm going to leave that to my techie people, because I'm not a Facebook person or anything like that. That's not me. We really came up with some ideas that I don't see us using, and they look like they'd be pretty easy for us to use. Yes?
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah.
The way I do the website for us, and for us to fill out our calendar, we have our calendar page, which is basically referencing the Google Calendar. And as we have our spring board meeting, fill out our schedule, I'm putting it in my personal calendar on the iPhone, which goes to that Google Calendar. So as we're actually putting it on, it is then in our Google Calendar, which means instantaneously it's on the website calendar page. And Google Calendars can be subscribed to by other people. So if we decide, like this weekend, to have an event, I would put it in here, and then boom, it's on our web page. Anybody in the group, the club that's subscribed to that with their personal calendar system on their smartphone will have it, and anybody else has it. So it was more of a work-saving thing for me, but it become a way to distribute as well.
So make sure I understand it right. Anybody can subscribe to your club's Google Calendar, and if you put something on, it sends something automatically to anybody that subscribes, or they have to look?
It just updates it. So what people do is they use Google Calendar, and then they do it as a layer onto their
on their own phone, so it appears on
there.
there.
Goes, oh, there's a thing, and they don't, it just happens. It's just there.
Cool idea. Thank you. Whoops. So we have a lot of special events. How do people learn about you? A lot of word of mouth, a lot of websites, Facebook, Google search. I don't know if somebody, it'd be interesting to see if somebody Googled astronomy observation in the Quad Cities, what pops up. Occasional news stories, park districts, people who attend a STEM event. We actually visit, we get called very often in the community to do, we did the first Lego League. The first Lego League competition happened to do with space travel this year. So they called us. Close relationship with science educators, that's a big thing. I know there are a lot of teachers that are involved in our hobby, and it's a natural to get hooked up with the science teachers. And as you'll see, we're Sunday, we're hooked into both the Pleasant Valley School System with their physics teacher, and we're going to the Bettendorf to see their planetarium, and their physics teacher will be taking us around. Here's the one that was interested. We are in the phone book with an answering machine. So if I look at the yellow pages under astronomy, your number's there. Whose is that? Nobody's admitting to it.
Oh, I'm the phone number for us. That's my landline at home, not my cell phone.
But it's in the, you're in the phone book under astronomy?
No, under St. Louis Astronomical Society.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else has an ad in the yellow pages? It must work.
That's not actually in the phone book.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about typical attendee counts. There's a lot of double-digit numbers, a lot of triple digits for special occasions. And who thinks they've had the biggest attendance to an event? Let's hear the number. And you better start at over 1,000.
1,500.
1,500?
We had maybe 1,000 or more at Hale Bach.
Okay, 1,000 or more? Somebody that was at our eclipse event at the library, were we over 1,000 or over 500? 1,500 for a partial solar eclipse. You couldn't even see the big show.
The Uranus.
What's that?
The Uranus flyby. How many did we have?
I don't know.
Oh, it's at least 1,000.
At least 1,000 there, yeah.
Yeah, that was
So 1,000 came to see Uranus?
a Uranus flyby.
Oh, flyby. I missed the flyby.
Don't make fun of that
Neptune.
town of Missouri.
Was that
Neptune
It
only.
really is.
Sorry, it was Neptune.
Neptune.
Oh, but Uranus is more fun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody said sometimes no one shows up and we go home after a half hour, otherwise 10 to 20 on a decent night with the moon in the sky. For Halley's Comet, we had 5,000 spread over 5 nights. So that kept you busy, I bet. So, what contributes to best-in-class outreach? The stuff in general that came back, because I asked the question, what makes your group best in class? So one of the biggest things was a dedicated membership that wants to reach out. So you got to have people that want to educate the public. A lot of good exhibits and presentations. So, for example, we put up some of our exhibits. If you come to one of our public viewings, you might not have a telescope. But we were blessed with a bunch of teachers that used to teach stuff to their students. And they set up just like we're in a classroom. They got a table and they set up and teach people about different types of telescopes, about different stars, different planets. So even if you don't have a telescope, there's a place for you in outreach. Dark skies are important, but we're going to learn it a little bit, not necessary. It's nice to have open ground so you're not looking through trees. One of my favorite spots we do is down on the river in a campground, and all the campgrounds come over, they give you beers, and you drink beer while they're looking through your telescope, so it's kind of cool. But it took forever for Mars to get above the tree line, and it was getting late, and I had had enough. And finally, there was an opening that I could catch it, showed it, and went home. So open ground is nice, and key is easy access. If they have to struggle to get to you, you're not going to have a big turnout. So some of the differentiators. We've been told that we are #1 attraction at the state park when you add up the number of people who call and ask you for information. So astronomy is a big seller for people out there. So I'm hoping somebody can jump in on this one. 2 observatories, 1 visual, 1 video, plus several other scopes on the lawn to give people a good variety of choices to look through. They have a scope that they let people use themselves with a little guidance. And they do sidewalk observing in downtown where hundreds of people walk by, and their people love to do it. So, question, I think this is
that's
Eric.
Naperville.
You have 2, so you have a observatory that's showing, and then got somebody
Right.
looking on the screen at the same thing the telescope's
So
looking at?
we have a dome with a visual, 17-inch visual or 18-inch visual, and then we have a roll-off roof that has a camera. One of the cameras have been given away,
Okay.
And so we have the two, and we have a monitor in both of the buildings for that. And so it's neat because people then can see with their eye, and then they can see something, usually something different on the TV screen.
Okay.
And it works out real well.
How many people let the public use your telescopes? Oh, man.
Specific one.
It's that one.
With that eyepiece.
With that, I actually will let somebody focus my scope because everybody's eyesight's a little bit different. And the sidewalk astronomy, not many people talked about it. I did some learning on it. So you do nighttime and you do a solar, right?
Right. And the nighttime, so downtown Naperville, there's literally street lights right next to us that they won't turn off. So the viewing is really bad, but a lot of people walk by, especially on a nice night. And so we'll get a couple hundred people that'll stop, and look through our stuff. And that's why we do it. And you can see the planets. And with my 11-inch, I've actually seen some galaxies,
Oh,
even literally with street lights right next to us.
oh, okay. Has anybody else just tried this sidewalk astronomy?
Yeah, I want to jump in there.
Yeah.
So, I'm from Nova Scotia. I'm from Halifax, Nova Scotia. The Royal Astronomical Society there.
No, it's not on.
I think it is.
Whatever. So they do sidewalk astronomy in downtown Halifax, also where there are tons of streetlights. But if you're going right along the waterfront, there's a lot of people going by.
Right.
And so if the moon's up, if there's planets up, it's awesome to see,
Right.
even though it's not a super dark sky. I think those are about reaching.
Right. And usually most of the people have never looked through a telescope, but even just looking at the moon, for them, it's just, it makes their day.
Yeah.
For us, it's not real interesting, but for them, it's great. So it works out real well.
How many are aware of this Sidewalk Astronomers group out of California? It was, it's a nonprofit founded by John Dobson, as in Dobsonian Telescope. And if you are aware of them, you probably use some of their resources. If you're not aware of them, excellent resources if you want to get into things. They've got a ton of different programs on there, so you don't even have to think about it. You go down there, download some of the projects. They have an international following, so they actually have a calendar that has, it doesn't have a ton of events on it right now, but there's events from around the world on their website. So it's kind of cool.
Question.
Yes?
When you do that, do you get a permit from the city or let the city know you're doing it? or-
In our case, until this last year, because I actually went to the city to see if they would be willing to turn off just literally a couple of lights. And then they said, oh, we didn't know that you were there.
So they added more lights so it's safe, right?
No. So in our case, we just have to tell them we're there in case somebody else has it reserved, they can call us. So we don't really actually have a permit. So it actually is okay, just once a year. I just send them our schedule for the remainder of the year. In our case, I don't know in your case.
So I'm not directly involved with the Halifax Astronomy Club. I don't think that they have any permits or anything. It's usually just a couple of people that go down with their own telescopes and set up along the boardwalk, like along the waterfront, and people show up. Yeah, I don't think there's any permits involved.
You would really need to check with your own city.
Yeah.
Or just try it. And I mean, we have police officers that come by and stop and look through the scopes and stuff, so I'm assuming what we're doing is legal.
Hey, you know what's funny about astronomy and telescopes and setting up equipment? You set up, I find it hard to believe that anybody's going to bother that. Although I have heard anecdotal that somebody set up on a back road because it was dark out there, and they got visited by a policeman wondering what was going on. We found out, oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like you can, so yeah, you got a big job.
At Miami Zoo with the pack book.
Okay.
When a local police officer came up and asked him what they're doing, we told him, he said, oh, that's great. But he had no idea otherwise. He didn't see it before. So it's the same thing. You just have to let him know.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I've got some kids in Colorado now, so one of my stomping grounds is Rocky Mountain National Park. And we're birders, so we like going up around, if you're familiar with the park, the Alpine Village, it's up at about 12,000 feet. And I happened to be up there after dark and looked at the sky, and wow. Although don't look to the southwest because Denver's over there. No, southeast. But anyways, I talked to Ranger. I said, I'm going to do some astrophotography up here. Is that a problem? Can I just come up and set up? He said, oh yeah, there's a club that does it in this other area. I went down there. I said, no, I want to be up in this parking level at 12,000 feet. And I said, he said, you just can't. I said, well, often what happens is you set up your equipment, you hook up the computer, you hit the go button, and then you go inside and you sleep. He said, put a sign in your window that says astrophotography, and they won't bother you. If you look like you're camping, they're going to be pounding on your door. So yeah, surprisingly in the national parks, you can get away with stuff if you've got an intelligent reason to be doing it.
I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but the National Park Service used to have volunteer astronomers.
They do.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they still have the program or not, do they?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole thing called Night Sky Rangers.
Yep.
Okay, because I signed up for it, my wife and I, and they were going to assign us to a place that was 24 miles away from, you drive out 24 miles into the wilderness with no place to stay. You have to drive back in again. It's the middle of the desert, and it's 115 degrees. I turned it down.
Take Rocky Mountain National up at 12,000 feet.
That's the problem they had. They were losing a lot of people because the people would pick those prime spots like that, and you could never get in there. If you're just coming in, you got the crappy spots.
Yeah.
So I think they changed now to make them more.
Okay, Deacon, yes.
So, let me introduce you to a couple of new concepts apparently. On your phone, computer, whatever, you can do it up there if you want. Just Google astronomy events St. Louis and take a look at what's there. You click on the first link. It takes you to our calendar page for Night Sky Network. I don't know if you guys, how many people have never heard of Night Sky Network? Okay, that's it. So, mind if I take a couple minutes?
Go ahead.
All right, so Astronomical Society of the Pacific sponsors a program that's funded through NASA called Night Sky Network. And it's designed specifically for astronomy clubs. It's designed specifically to handle all of your calendar events, all your membership issues, tracking your members, tracking all of your events, tracking who volunteers for your events, sending out notices for RSVPs so you know people are coming to your events, etc. If you Google St. Louis and astronomy events, our calendar for Night Sky Network shows up. We have probably about 200 locations stored in there. So when we do an event at a school, they can click on a map and it takes you with a Google map point directly where the telescopes are going to be. We send out notices to our members, hey, we need a volunteer for this event, and we can send it out to everybody. It tracks their volunteer hours, and so we can actually go in and say, how many events did we have last year? Night Sky Network also provides pins to celebrate outreach volunteers and so on, and it's probably the best thing that ever happened to us. We used to do a calendar program, but only 2 people could operate it. We have 20 coordinators for our Night Sky Network calendar. Any of them can put in events, any of them can log events, say, hey, here's how many people were here, here's a couple pictures, you can upload it to Night Sky Network and they keep track of it, but it is designed from the ground up specifically to handle astronomy events for outreach for astronomers and clubs. The other benefit is, if you're not aware of Astronomical Society Pacific Resources, they have about 10 or 12 toolkits, which are activity kits for astronomers to teach astronomy and specific topics, lots of cool things. And if you log so many events in a quarter, then you're eligible to receive a free toolkit. And they've sent us 10 so far. So we have all these boxes of really cool stuff that you can do. Astronomy activities, they have training videos, how to get beyond the wow of Saturn at your club. They're all about doing everything that's related to astronomy for that.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jim.
And then we don't call it the Sidewalk Astronomy. One of our members, Cook Feldman, nicknamed it Gorilla Astronomy. Not the ape, the other kind. We're just going to show up.
All right, thank you.
If you want to get started on that, or if you have any questions, how many different clubs do we have here?
23, I think.
23?
Yeah.
If you have any questions about getting set up or want to look at it, like I said, if you want to check out our calendar and see what kind of information is there, just Google St. Louis and astronomy events and it'll pop up. But if you want help on getting started with that, just
Thank
let me
you.
know.
Great.
Our club is, we actually do use the Night Sky Network here. We've got multiple people in it as well. One thing I didn't realize is that they would actually do the tracking for you so that you can type in
Oh,
Google,
yeah.
do astronomy events, Quad Cities, and we should be able to then
Yeah.
look that up. That's a good thing for us.
And it's a great way to track your membership too. So we have like addresses, we can send out notices. And
Sure.
if an event gets canceled, it'll send out a cancellation notice automatically. Sorry, it's cloudy.
Okay, so we actually had somebody that was too modest to tell us all how great they are, but they keep it very informal, but they have informative events and easy to access telescopes. So again, some more of that easy access. So this club is, as is probably with most astronomy clubs, has members that are willing and eager to teach and share information. This willingness to share information in a way that is unassuming, disarming, and with passion is the recipe for a successful outreach program. I did astronomy stuff when I was knee-high to a grasshopper, because you're all country folk, right? And then I was reborn 50 years later because it's actually Roy and Jan's fault that I'm actually Hanover, that I'm up here. They did a community outreach program at one of the universities that my wife and I signed up for. We were hooked, and 2 years later, here I am. But the people that I have met, a lot of you folks, either at a star party or at a conference, I liken it a lot to birding. I have never seen a birder or an astronomer that doesn't want to help you. It is the two greatest groups of people I've ever worked with. I'm a photographer too, and a lot of them like to keep secrets. Okay, we don't present a formal session at our outreach, but we do present during the viewing, tell stories about constellations, how things work, and you're setting up over the DIY, right? They're going to show us their gizmo so that anybody can take a moon photo. So these guys are going to be set up over in the other room. You can see their little gizmo for anybody. I assume anybody can set their smartphone in it and get a professional picture.
So what it's designed so that you can walk up, slap their phone on it, it's the right distance from the eyepiece, square it up, might have to X, Y a little bit, and you take a picture. No adapter, no strapping the phone on, no clamping, you can just do it really fast. And I designed it so that you can 3D print it. The designs are free, and we're going to have a printer, and they're eyepiece specific, not telescope specific. So I have a couple of designs right now. It's actually part of, I'm regular lift and part of my job at work. So I got marketing out of it, and it's a work in progress. But I noticed that there's Gacioch out there that are going to be out there. My latest video project for work is going to be, I designed one on our new software, and I wasn't only at home, and I wanted to make one for Gacioch, so I'm going to have one for that. So library scopes, Gacioch scopes, and a couple others. But it's like super easy. It was like a quick little thing just to do for a video at work, and darn it, it didn't work really well. It's like, you know, and you get like 6-year-olds with a little iPad.
So we're going to see this 3D printer thing, but you're also going to have brochures to what sells 3D printers, or?
No, you know, the designs I'm just giving away for free, just download the file and print, but you can pretty much find a library, makerspace, I'm sure in the Quad Series
Yes.
there's more than one. You can just download this little file called STL, download the printer, and print it out, you're done.
I think most of the places I've seen charge you for the filament.
Material, right.
My brother lives in Syracuse, New York. Every public library has multiple 3D printers, free to use, no charge for the filament.
At our place, we do chopped carbon fiber, continuous carbon fiber, Kevlar, and metal.
Mm-hmm.
So plastic is like sort of, oh, you want to do some plastic, whatever, knock yourself out. You don't really care.
Okay. So this club's not sure they are best in class, but they always have good open houses and have great regular scheduled things that everybody has a good time. So whether they're best in class, That's not important to them. The key is that they're out doing the outreach. Well, this one actually, what makes the best in class? This one says nothing. We aren't that good. But we are very patient, do our best to answer their questions, and make sure they see the objects in the telescope. I once showed Saturn to a legally blind man. Is that person here? I truly don't remember who said what. That's why I voted included. So that's got to be best in class. If you can,
Mike, you can be legally blind and still see objects.
Yes, you can.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now that's a nice thing for the throw in there, but you can still see.
so it's one of those misleading comments, right? I thought that was cool. Okay, anything else jump in? I've got some more slides to go, but anything that anybody wants to, based on what we've been talking about and some of the talks we have, anybody have anything that jumps out that you folks do that you want to tell us about? Yeah, Jeff.
I can't emphasize enough how important to us social media is. That is where some people might call a phone number. We have a line, which is my house, and once in a while I'll get something. We can have on like Labor Day weekend, it's going to be a good evening, and Moon's going to be out, and we have the thing scheduled. We can put a thing on our Facebook page that like Saturday morning, because like we're going to be out there anyway. Oh, we're going to go to the observatory tonight and whatever, and we can have 50 people show up. And people, we put events out there like at a state park, and I can have 50,000 impressions of that. Of course, it's a fraction of the people that actually show up, but it's just so much, and people see us on Facebook all the time. So between Facebook and Twitter, our new adventure this year is going to be Instagram, because that's where the kids are. I mean, I'm not good enough for Snapchat yet. That's a little too much. But I mean, that's where they talk about the youth and the not so youth anymore. That's where they are. So we leverage that at work in our marketing group. I do a lot of social media there, and having done it a couple of years with our club has been a boom. We don't even do things in the local paper anymore. We just put it on social and let people link to it, let people share it, and it's a huge, huge thing.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. What does somebody else have? Yes?
I think the thing I've enjoyed the most is when we have school groups or even open to the public as it gets later and the interest, some people have left or some of the school kids have settled down and they're off sitting somewhere else. The ones that are left, we have several 12-inch daubs, and I will say to them, would you like to find something? And they go, really? I can touch it? So I showed them, and we all have Telrads and finder scopes on them, so that it's really easy to show them what to do. The excitement of their finding something with that great big scope is priceless.
Has anybody found that once they hook one of the kids, that the kids pressure their parents into becoming club members? Do you see that happen? Yeah.
We buying telescopes too. They'll go out and come to the next meeting and ask, okay, what's a good starter post?
Yeah. You know, I don't know what the demographics of your clubs look like, but I'm actually one of the youngsters in our club. So we're continually looking at ways of promoting and trying to get some more youth involved. We feel lucky that we've got the panel discussion Sunday morning where we've got some students that are going to be talking about getting involved. And believe it or not, Saturday night is their prom night. So we've got some students going to prom Saturday night, and they're supposed to be at the planetarium at 9 o'clock to talk to us and to ask them questions. When I heard that it was prom night, I don't know how many watch Big Bang Theory. You're not prom where you watch Big Bang. I said, that's pretty funny that those astronomy geeks think they're going to the prom. Because I guarantee you that Sheldon and the gang didn't go to the prom. Anything else? Yeah, Eric.
So one of my more favorite times of doing outreach on the Naperville Riverwalk is about 10 p.m. when all the families are pretty much gone, the lines have gone away, and we get the high school and college kids that are there. And some of them will stop by, they'll stay for an hour and ask questions, and I often will ask them, do you want to try to look for a galaxy? It's going to be hard to see. So it's kind of stuff that might take them a minute before they actually see it. But with no line, you can afford to
Finish our tour.